from WBNE.
Howdy, yokes. Before we get started today, I want to let you know that this episode of Bacon and Eggs is brought to you by our patrons. Now, this show and this network that we're on is supported almost entirely by our patrons, and we would love for that number to grow so that we can continue to grow. So if you like Bacon and Eggs, if you like WB&E, if you like the stuff that we do, head on over to patreon.com/baconandeggs and check out all the great reward tiers we have over there. I can't recommend enough right now because we are ahead the $10 tier, which gets you unedited episodes of Bacon and Eggs, which means that like we're recording this episode way in advance, and you get this like so much sooner. So like if you saw me live tweeting about High School Musical and are like, man, I wish I had a long form podcast to listen to about that and don't want to wait 2 weeks for it to come out, you can just like, you just hear it. You just hear it like 2 weeks in advance. It's good stuff. You should totally do that. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for donating. And I'm excited to see new little patron faces. You don't have to show me your face, but you know, you get it. You get the idea. Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And today we're breaking free.
Or maybe we're just auditioning for a musical.
So get your Wildcat spirit.
And we're all in this together.
Because today we're bringing you
High School Musical. Now, air horn noises.
Not only are we bringing you High School Musical, we are joined by the premier high school author of the 21st century. This is like probably the most excited I've ever been to have a guest on this show, and we've had some pretty freaking cool guguests.
You've had some very cool guests.
We have.
He said one time my wife was on here. What a guy. Just getting the right answers.
Our guest is the author of The Kissing Booth, like the Netflix movie, as well as a ton of fan fiction and all sorts of fantastic novels, including Ethan's first Read It With My Eyeballs book of the year.
That is true. One of 3 total books I've read on paper this year.
I'm honored, Ethan.
3 total. Yeah, it's you and J.D. Salinger and Neil Gaiman are my only paper authors.
That is some high company to be keeping.
Welcome to Bacon and Eggs, Beth Reekles.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tyler. Hi, Ethan. Thank you for having me.
You are
I'm
so
jazzed you're here. Yeah. Anytime. This is your show now. It's called Beth Reekles and Eggs. And it's
Excellent.
like
I'm glad I get to stay.
Welcome. So High School Musical is like, how much of The Kissing Booth was inspired by High School Musical?
I mean, High School Musical was iconic. So is like, I can't say it's directly inspired by, but you know,
I mean, the sequel has a dance scene. Like, I guess the first one does, but like a dance scene.
This is true. I think it's just that whole vibe of high school romance and kind of the friendships that get built and stuff like that. Like, probably minus the singing in my book, but I feel like that's kind of hard to write. So.
I know. Tolkien wrote in a lot of songs. I've been reading The Hobbit. And it just ruins the reading experience, especially on the audiobook, because I listen to them very fast.
Oh, man. There's no good answer with audiobooks and songs, is there?
No, there's no good answer. At normal speed, I guess.
The one thing I did like in The Hobbit, though, is that there's a couple of songs that they actually do sing for the movies and stuff, so you could kind of put it to a tune.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So real quick, running down stats on High School Musical, directed by Kenny Ortega, came out January 20th, 2006, which is 5,532 days ago. Got a $4.2 million budget. It made a questionable amount of money worldwide. I think it's very tough to put a box office to this because there was no box office, but there have been sequels and now a TV show, and there's plenty of merch, and there was a traveling show. And without High School Musical, we don't get the kissing booth. So it's like there's a lot here.
It's called a tour, man. Like they went on tour. They didn't pitch up a bunch of caravans and hitch them to the back of horses and travel all over the Wild West doing their dance breaks. Like, what are you talking? It's a traveling show. High School Musical's in town this weekend.
I would be happy to see either of those, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. If I was gonna say if Zac Efron wants to pop up and do whatever, on a caravan, but he didn't go on the tour because he had something better to do or whatever.
He also, in his caravan movie, the character he plays isn't even real. Like, if I recall correctly, when he's in Greatest Showman, where he's actually doing like the caravan shows, like the character he plays and Zendaya's character are not based on real people at all. They were just like a total fabrication for this movie.
But it works.
Somebody had to sing good. It wasn't going to be Hugh Jackman, apparently.
It's tough to watch. Anyway, 63% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 74% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and there is no Metacritic score, so we're going with the Beth Reekles a critic score.
I'm really feeling the pressure.
Right.
Yeah,
we need
this weighs your score more than other guests.
Yeah, so I did actually do a review, because I do movie reviews on my Instagram stories, which is something I started in lockdown like this time last year, almost to the day. That's a frightening thought. But
isn't that something?
I did High School Musical last summer and I gave it a 7 out of 10. So I'm going to stand by that and go with a 72.
72. Okay. I'm going to mark that in here. I think I don't think that's unreasonable praise. Ethan, what do you got?
I'm going to say...
It's going to be so bad. I'm so
like
not
55?
ready. 55? That's better than I expected.
That's better than I expected.
This was better than I expected. I'll be honest with you. I said
you
it
guys are in for
yesterday
a
in the
treat
group
with
chat.
the sequels.
I'm interested to see the sequels and how they go. This was not... I saw this movie once, probably, 12 years ago at this point, and I don't think I paid attention at all. But yeah, it was a back-to-back double feature of this and Camp Rock, if that tells you anything about what that day was like. But yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised. Tyler, what do you got?
I'm going to.
He's going to start with 9.
No, I'm not. No.
I'm so prepared for such a low score from Tyler.
Oh no! I actually really liked this. I'm gonna go for an 83.
Yeah, he loved this.
I had such low expectations that if there was the makings of a coherent story, I was gonna be blown away. And I'm not like harsh on movies, I don't think, but this was like such a pleasant surprise for it to be. The way I described it to Ethan was that it had the right nostalgic flavor. Like, even though I had never seen it before and I didn't watch it as a kid, it was like, I appreciate what 2006 was doing here. This is a culture I'm familiar with, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Because that was my fear, was that you guys wouldn't have to because I know, Tyler, you hadn't seen it before, at least. I wasn't sure about you, Ethan, but I was so worried that it wouldn't have like the nostalgia factor, so that would like really have dragged your scores down.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I saw this in 2006 and it was like a big deal for me, that I would definitely look back fondly on it, probably. I think it's held up better than pretty much every other DCOM ever, at least prior to this.
Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. That is a great one.
I have not seen that one. Okay, so it's better than Johnny Tsunami 2, whatever that one was called. Johnny Kamahala Back on Board. That's it. Where he goes mountain boarding. Johnny Tsunami rips, honestly. I don't know why we're not covering that one, but
we can.
No. To the point that Tyler made, it definitely had a coherent story, and that's actually where it's getting a lot of points from for me. Is it had a story that like tied together well enough and made enough sense that I was like able to be annoyed at the characters for the things that they do.
Yeah, like Troy and Gabriella are really well flushed out. Like, you get Troy more than anybody. You get like a really decent image into their brains and how things are going, and like Troy's arc is infuriating. How like he just wants to try something else. It doesn't matter what it is. It just happens to be drama. And everyone is like, how dare you?
You need to stick to the status quo, Troy Bolton.
That's exactly right.
That was a wild scene. That scene has not aged well.
Oh, see, I have like really nostalgic memories of that because we used to play that song in our common room at school, like in our last 2 years of school, because the year below us began to like infiltrate our side of the common room. We were like, no, we never got to do this. So we would play Stick to the Status Quo on the little stereo that someone brought in to like try and drive them back.
Well, that's a very British thing to do, right? Keep calm, carry on.
Yep.
You know.
If you're on the basketball team, you play basketball.
What was this like?
You are like one hobby.
Right.
What was this like for a teen in the UK? Were you just sitting there looking at us like, what are they doing over there?
Right. So that's the thing with like all these high school movies is that I know they're like stereotypes and they're exaggerated and, you know, like Mean Girls and things like that. But that's all we see of it. So that's all we kind of assume. And it's a very different world. Whereas like I imagine, it's like one of the reasons I set the kissing booth in the US when I wrote it was because I thought I'm going to have to explain the British school system and like what year 10 is versus like a freshman in high school and common rooms and things like that. And all that like anyone else is going to have that to compare to is Hogwarts.
Right.
And I was like, I'm just going to set it in America because everyone knows like at least roughly what school system's like because of movies like, you know, Mean Girls, High School Musical.
I have a couple comments and a couple questions.
Wild.
When you wrote The Kissing Booth, and I'm sorry, I haven't read the book, so if this was a detail change for the film, then I'm sorry.
This is disgraceful, Tide. I don't know how I'm friends with you.
I'm sorry.
How dare you?
I've watched the movie a lot.
That's good enough for me.
Did you know how far Harvard was from Los Angeles?
I Googled.
Okay, that's
I
like...
thought, where is the furthest school from this?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was intentional. That was a...
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, I mean, this is like...
Yeah,
if
you'd
you
be
were
hard
in
pressed to
London
get further away.
going to college in the Kremlin. Like...
But like, again, that's one of those things that you just get in like TV shows and movies. It's like, you know, everyone gets into like Brown and Yale and Harvard. Unless you like Legally Blonde, where they show you actually have to work for this.
Yeah.
But even then, it's
hard.
like, what? Like, it's hard?
It's very, it's very, as somebody who applied to an Ivy League college, it is very hard to get into an Ivy League college. They did not give me the time of day.
I got rejected from our equivalent when I applied, so.
I have no, I had, in high school, I had a teacher who was British and went to school in England, and I still don't know how your school system works.
Because I don't feel like it's like massively complicated. You have primary school, which is kind of kindergarten through.
Okay.
Like it's just primary and secondary school. That's pretty much it for your schooling. So primary school is kind of like 4 to 10, 11, and it's reception year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So kind of kindergarten through, I think that's grade 5. And then you go to secondary school, which is years 7 through 13. And so that's like instead of middle school and high school separately, it's kind of both together. But your final 2 years are optional. And I don't know if this is a thing in America, but that's like... So sort of freshman and sophomore year, your freshman and sophomore year for you guys, like for us, that's when you do your exams. And after that, you can leave school if you want to, or you do your A-levels, which is your final exams to qualify for university. And that's called sixth form. And some schools have a sixth form and some schools don't. And that's where it starts to get complicated. And that's why I thought, I'm just going to set the kissing booth in America.
But like everybody goes to private school, right? Like everybody. And you all have uniforms and houses and common rooms and...
where did you get your
common
wand?
Rooms are just... Oh, I went to Ollivanders for that. Like everyone does.
The only place you can go, really.
Yeah. I made my parents stand in a queue for like an hour to get my Ollivanders wand when we went to Florida. Like common rooms are just a pretty bog standard thing, but they are not like you would probably picture thanks to Harry Potter. Like,
Yeah, I didn't figure you'd
I
go
feel
to
like
school
the
in a
only way
castle.
to describe it is I'm gonna have to like send you a picture of what they look like, but it's like really rough blue carpet, speckled ceiling tiles, chip paint on the walls, one creaky radiator by the windows that are always like damp.
This was
I feel
my
like I'm
entire high
painting a
school.
really bad picture of my school, but I feel like this is a very standard school experience. And like everyone would huddle around the radiator when it was cold and rainy outside.
And did you walk up?
But the common
uphill
rooms in
to
our school were only for sixth formers. Sorry, what was that, Tyler?
I was asking if you had to walk to school uphill both ways in the snow. And nothing but your
I
bare
did for
feet.
an exam, actually. 'Cause where I'm from in Wales, it's really hilly. And so, yeah, there was a couple of us had to get up like 2 hours early the one day to walk to school in the snow because they declared that the exams weren't going to be postponed for the snow day. Everyone else got a snow day.
Did you have to speak the Welsh language?
Oh, yeah, I have a like Welsh GCSE.
What is a GCSE?
That's the
So
thing
that's our
before
like
A-levels.
freshman, sophomore year qualifications.
Oh,
So
I'm
like
learning
between
so
Siarad
much.
Cymraeg, I speak Welsh.
I want to shatter some American high school, not myths so much. High School Musical, I like.
Nails it shockingly well.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. I would say the number one best depiction of my high school experience, not as it relates to the main characters, but just like the culture of the school that they built, is 21 Jump Street.
Yes, I've
That
heard
was
you
the
guys say that
closest-
before on the pod, I think. And
Yeah,
I've just sent
that was the
a
closest I
DM
ever
to
saw.
the. I've just sent you guys a DM on the Bacon and Eggs Twitter though.
Okay.
Because this is the only thing I like. This is the main thing that comes to mind when I think of American high school culture and high school.
Okay,
musical.
so the
It's
giant
this giant
posters.
poster of Troy and the Wildcats.
Yeah, no, so that is weird.
that
Yeah, but
wouldn't
this
happen.
is the thing. Like, I don't think me or any of my friends ever questioned this because we were like, yeah, like it's weird, but so is the rest of this school system to us. So we like pep rallies, cheerleaders, like
rallies are
massive
real.
basketball games.
Yeah.
This could
That's
be.
all
This
real.
could
I
totally
believe that
be a
there
thing.
I firmly believe that there are schools where that would happen in America. Tyler and I did not go to one.
We went to the best basketball school in the state.
Yeah, probably.
At least in our
Yeah,
division.
at least in our division, which was the third out of 6 as far as
Yeah.
size goes. But also, like, yeah, Virginia, not exactly known for its sports the way some other states are. So, like, yeah, there are definitely places where they would do that. I don't
Our
think
high school football games would look like a small, bigger than most small college football games.
our high school football games looked like a high school movie. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So even the college football games just baffle me though. Like,
Oh yeah,
as a
that's
concept.
something I can't explain to you. That's
That's
you,
what I mean,
you
like,
have to
it's
experience
all-
it.
Like it just all seems strange compared to like, you know, the UK school and university system. So giant poster of Troy and the Wildcats, yeah, I'll buy that.
Now that would 1000% happen in college in America in collegiate basketball. That they have
100%.
giant posters of the students everywhere? Absolutely, yes.
But in high
okay.
school, it would have been like Albuquerque East High does not have funding to pay a photographer to get a photo of Troy and a poster that big. So they would have one poster that they made in 1985 that says "Go Wildcats."
Yeah.
That is tattered and destroyed. That they've been using every single year since then.
Right.
Unless
Okay.
the only exception here would be if one of those players went to the NBA, then they would just buy stuff for the school.
Yes.
Okay.
What I was going to say is there are definitely places where that happens in high schools. Albuquerque, New Mexico is not a place where that happens for basketball.
Noted.
Albuquerque, New Mexico is a wild place for this movie to be set.
Well, it's Breaking Bad, isn't it?
Yes. Breaking Bad didn't exist yet, though. I don't think.
No.
Yeah, 2008, I believe. Was
Yeah, in
Breaking Bad.
2006, it would have made sense for Bryan Cranston to show up as a teacher in this movie.
Yeah, the dad from Malcolm in the Middle. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like Troy's Mr. Feeney.
And so people got pressed with me yesterday on Twitter about the backpack thing because I tweeted, why does Troy Bolton not have a backpack? Because
okay.
It is so intrinsic to the American high school experience, especially in the mid 2000s, to carry everything you own with you around in your backpack at all times, all day, no matter what. And to never use your locker for anything. And Troy Bolton just doesn't have a backpack, but everybody else does, except him.
Oh, and Chad. So in the UK, we have lockers in secondary school, high school, whatever. But they're mostly only used for like your PE kit when you've got PE or gym class that day.
We have separate lockers.
You don't have loads of textbooks and things. And there's another, because you guys will get to enjoy all the High School Musical like Tumblr posts from 2010 now. Like the people who question that Chad, no wonder Chad is behind on homework since kindergarten, because the only thing he carries anywhere with him is a basketball.
Is a basketball, yeah.
Is a basketball.
Where are your books, Chad? Where are they? How are you getting through high school?
So a lot of, this is my best guess, is late 90s, early 2000s. Rather than every student getting a textbook, a teacher would have like 25 of them, and you just get to use it while you're in class. I don't know how you took it home. Yeah. I don't know how you studied at home or did homework. And I think that's why we transitioned away from that model and into the like one for every student. And then we had laptops, and that was like, who needs textbooks? Down with the industry.
I still spent a lot of money on textbooks in college.
For Chad. Now, Chad, I hate. The fact that Corbin Bleu was like popular is infuriating to me. Like, how can Corbin Bleu be popular, but Rose Tico ruined Kelly Marie Tran's career? I just don't get it.
Right?
Corbin Bleu is Chad is the worst friend ever.
Like, the only thing I can think watching it back now is that, 2006, like 11-year-old me had no concept of like toxic masculinity and things like that in movies, or toxic friendships, to think, Chad, you are being really mean to Troy right now. Just be nice, just support your friend. Don't try and like entrap him to badmouth the girl that he likes.
I will say this about Chad. I can remember very vividly, I had a Chad moment in high school, and Ethan was on my side. We were the basketball team, and two of our friends came to school one day, and they were like, we want to be vegetarians. And we were like, absolutely not. You cannot do this. You will ruin your life. You cannot do this. Think about college. How are you going to... Now, obviously, we were wrong. And to this day, those two friends are still vegetarians. I think vegan.
Yeah. They went straight vegan.
They had to go their own way.
Yeah. And I mean, I applaud that. I wish I could do that.
See, I was probably like, I was the Troy in my school. Which is only to say, people, I know.
A little braggadocious.
I have no modesty. No, what, like, because I studied physics at university and stuff, and people at school and things would say, like, why are you going to do physics at your A-levels, Beth? Like, that's a boys' subject. And I was like, oh, I like it. I don't really care what you think.
I'm so proud of you.
And, like, with writing, I didn't tell anyone because I thought it was a really weird hobby. And then I was like, all of a sudden I was like, I like writing. I post books online and they're actually really popular, so...
Just so you know.
Just so you know. Killing it.
I also like pranced around in a reindeer hat one Christmas because, like I said, I just thought that's going to be funny. That's going to make people laugh. I really don't care if anyone thinks that's weird. And it did make people laugh. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do my own thing. I don't really care.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of past me too.
You're way better than I was.
Did it have like antlers?
Way better.
Oh, like it was almost like
protrusive antlers?
Like a stuffed plushy reindeer.
Excellent.
But just the head of it. And it had antlers. And it had like little flaps down over the ears. And some girl had brought it into school the day we had carol service, because that's a thing that we do in UK schools. We sing Christmas carols.
Yeah.
And the music teacher plays the piano for everyone in the assembly hall. And
for everyone?
She brought it in as a joke. And I was like, no, I will wear that throughout the carol service. Like, I have no qualms about doing this.
You're speaking
I'm just going to dance around with this little reindeer hat on me.
You're speaking to a part of my soul that definitely has plenty of times became the possessor at that time of a funny hat and worn it until the bit gets old. That is very much a thing that I have done in my life.
It's got to be done.
Somebody's
even
gotta.
At the start of this movie, they have the teen party for New Year's, and there's just like so many crazy giant hats that everyone's wearing.
It's like they went to Party City and were like, "What do you got for funny hats?" And they were like, "We got giant 10-gallon foam hats. How many do you want? We'll take them."
I cannot tell you anything I would have rather done less at 17 or 27 than go to a ski resort teen party.
Right. And it's
Alone.
such a popular party.
Yeah. And nobody knows each other. Like this is a thing that I think happens in real life, but is like definitely a factor in more than one piece of fiction that I've seen where, they're these like teen parties where nobody knows each other and nobody's drinking anything and just like somebody,
You're all having a good time.
You're all having a great time and there's karaoke and dancing and singing and
although you do say no one drinks anything, I did notice a line in this I've never noticed before where I think the character is called Jason. I'm really sorry to any listeners if I've got that wrong and they're going to call me out. But he says to Troy when they all get back to school on the first day, like, "Do you remember the night before?" And he says, "All I remember is pink jelly." And I'm like, "Troy, were you doing vodka jelly shots?" Troy Bolton.
He wouldn't
Where
call
did
it
that
jelly.
come from?
Troy definitely did some underage drinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basketball's one season, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So this movie contains the worst drama teacher ever.
She listens to the other two. She's like fighting the universe to fill the cast of this show. And the president of the drama club is like, "We can't do it when two of the most important people and best actors are available."
I mean,
I
don't want to play into the trope.
She is the most dramatic drama teacher I have ever come across. The way she talks about her drama class is just like, what temerity. She's like, "My temple of the arts." And like, my sister has accused me of channeling my inner Miss Darvis more than once, and I don't feel sorry about it.
As I've said before,
Sacred.
show business waits for no one. The theater waits for no one.
And then it waits for
that's
Troy and
showbiz.
Gabriella every single time.
I feel like
You know what waits for nobody? The basketball clock.
Yeah.
right. I feel like Edie and Becca from Sincerely Us would be so mad with Troy and Gabriella treating theatre the way they do with it. Always late.
I don't think they would, honestly. Like, I get the argument that Troy and Gabriella should prioritize the theater or whatever, but that's like, it's high school. That's a dumb expectation to make of people, especially when you're thinking about like the drama club versus, varsity sports. And
Do you mean the drama club? Exclamation point.
Yeah.
That made me laugh. So that was a moment, I just want to highlight that real quick. That was one of the moments where I was like, this movie is The Room for kids who have never seen The Room. And the exclamation point is their spoons. And I love this moment. And I will be part of the meme now. I'm in exclamation point.
You can just watch The Room though. Like, it's accessible to everybody.
No, just
Don't watch The Room. You're okay.
watch High School Musical. It's pretty good.
It's better than The Room.
Wait, like The Room, like the Brie Larson film?
No, not that one.
No, not Room.
No, do
That's
watch
Room.
that.
Yeah, do watch that
So
one.
I was going to say, I've seen that, but I do not remember anything about an exclamation point in there.
No.
So Tommy Wiseau is this enigmatic person, right?
Okay.
We'll just leave it. He's an actor. Supposedly his name's Tommy Wiseau. Supposedly he's like 60 years old now. Who knows? Like, he literally like showed up out of nowhere. He might be an alien. And he makes this movie called The Room with this like not even washed up actor, this like nobody actor. And it is like gone down in history as like the worst film ever made. That cost like $100 million or something to that effect.
Yeah,
And like, nobody knows where he
wow.
gets the money. There's a really good James Franco movie about the making of
Called
The
The
Room.
Disaster Artist.
Oh, okay. I've I've at least seen the trailer for that, but I had never seen.
So that
The Room
movie is
or
fantastic.
heard of it.
The Disaster Artist is fantastic, but The Room has like this cult following where it's kind of like Rocky Horror, where like people will get together and watch this movie. Only the difference is like Rocky Horror is like a good movie and this is like the worst. And then there's like anytime something happens on screen, like there's a spot where he like walks into a room and there are like framed pictures of spoons.
Oh, it's throughout the whole movie. That like all of the
Okay.
art on the walls is just pictures of spoons.
Okay.
And so anytime it happens, people like throw spoons at the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Why
that's
not?
so the exclamation point for me was like, this is a thing that kids can get excited about. And,
Yeah.
And I jived with it. I was all about it. My
It was a
83,
good moment.
I want to be clear about the 83 I gave to this movie. It's not like 17 points behind Parasite. I don't think that's a fair comparison because Parasite is fantastic, or like Shawshank Redemption or Endgame or whatever. Parasite is attempting to be like a supercar. All High School Musical has to do is be a functional golf cart, and I'm in.
Now,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Tyler, this is
Yeah.
not the one that has golf in it.
I know. It has Ryan though wearing the best golf outfits.
I was waiting the entire movie for the
I
golf course
love
scene.
Ryan's wardrobe.
Oh,
Ryan.
Ryan and Sharpay are the worst.
No, Sharpay's the worst. Ryan's a victim. I'm Team Ryan.
He's an enabler.
I really like Sharpay.
What? Is there
No,
more
like,
to her
okay,
arc I
hear
don't
me
know?
out.
I'll hear you out. Let's go.
But like just in this movie, I was thinking like the sheer confidence that she has. Like people don't like her, but they damn well respect her. And like I thought it was really interesting when I was like watching it, making notes yesterday, that you know the theatre kids are not like some weird outcast group, and everyone's like, oh, like Sharpay's such a dork or anything like that. They're just like, oh yeah, the theatre gang, they're their own thing.
Their own clique.
We respect that. We don't mess with them. And like the just the confidence she has when she signs the audition sheet, and she like just
Signs it
covers
huge.
it all and like autographs it. She you know tries to flirt with Troy and stuff like that, and she's like, you value hard work and ambition just like me, so like therefore we should get together because we have similar values. You know, and she shoots her shot. She just goes for it a couple of times.
Okay,
I
I'm
really
with
like the
that.
confidence.
Here's where I don't agree with Sharpay. Is
She's a horrible person.
She's a horrible
cool. I
person.
just wanted to make sure that she's a bully. Like, she's,
Oh yeah,
she
I
doesn't
like her in the same way as I like Cersei Lannister.
okay, valid. Yeah, okay. That one's lost on Tyler. He has not interacted with
yeah.
that series at all. He watched that one episode that one time for the show.
I did. I've seen the pilot a few times, and every time I'm like, yeah, these are all characters who are gonna die. Why should I care? And why
Not all of them.
Yeah.
why is that guy doing that to his sister? That seems inappropriate.
No, that's Cersei Lannister. She's the sister.
Jaime Lannister. I know that when we got to the end of the series and they showed Jaime Lannister on screen, I was like, that guy looks way less like Prince Charming now. He's really been tattered, it looks like.
Yeah, he had a rough go of it for sure.
Yeah, just a little bit.
You talk about a redemption arc. Jeez. I don't have that big of a problem with Chad the way Tyler does, honestly.
Chad's the
You're
worst.
15, man. Like
He's
I don't think that Troy, the fact that Troy and Gabriella still end up together in the end is like that's a good enough reason to forgive Chad, right? Because like they're 15 or 16 or whatever. They're gonna be
They're
kids,
juniors.
man. They're just gonna do that stuff. They're not gonna understand each other, but then they do. They come around and they go all in on it, and they help Troy, beat out his dad or whatever. Like get away with it, and they disrupt the basketball game together. I don't know. I don't have a problem with Chad.
Well, so my issue with Chad definitely came prior to seeing the end of the film. So I was already upset with him, and I was like, Troy might forgive you because you've been friends your whole lives, but not me. I just met you, you jerk. If you do this to my son, how dare you?
If it was one of those things where like Gabriella never speaks to Troy again, then we have a problem, right? But she was willing to hear reason.
Yeah.
Like, okay, these people put us in a really weird situation. Troy was like, I'm sorry, legitimately sorry for the things I said. I do think that's a good. I don't dislike Chad.
What about the academic decathlon girl who I cannot remember the name of? Taylor. When she was pitching Gabriella on like join the academic decathlon team, I was like, I was all in, and apparently that was happening at like the same time that Chad was like ripping into Troy, and it was supposed to be like they were experiencing the same scene. I was watching it and I was like, Gabriella, you should do academic decathlon. Troy, you should do drama.
Right. But like that's the whole conceit of this movie, and that's the whole problem that bothers me is like God's love is big enough for both, right? This is high school. You're supposed to just do whatever you're supposed to get to do whatever you want. Like you can be on the basketball team and also be in the play, seeing as the final game happens the same day as the callback auditions. It's not even a time conflict.
Just tell the drama teacher.
Troy's dad sucks.
Like,
yes,
he's the problem.
See, I'm not like he puts way too much pressure on Troy especially when he's like the whole school is like depending on you. I'm like, dude, calm down. He's like 16. That's way too much pressure to put on this kid. But I do like the little moment, like Troy never has to confront him and have that classic, Dad, this is not my dream. This was your dream.
See,
like
I was waiting for that to happen.
He seems to like basketball. Yeah, and it's one of those like cliches that you're just expecting to see. But Troy never has to have that confrontation with his dad in this movie about, I want to do drama, not basketball or anything like that. And you don't understand me. It's just, he says, look, I've been putting too much pressure on you. Just go out there and have fun. Do your best. I'm going to be proud of you anyway.
Here's my issue.
I kind of like that for him.
Real quick, T.
No, here's my issue with that scene. Go ahead.
I legitimately thought that the whole like, no, Dad, I'm giving up on your dream was a quote from this movie. I legitimately thought it was a legitimate in the script quote from this movie.
Oh no, you want to watch Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off? Okay,
that is next on that is the third to next decom on my list, which means I will never get to it because I have to watch movies all the time for this show, and apparently I'm 4 books behind in our book challenge, so that's great.
Yeah, I'm like 20 books behind. So my issue with that scene with Troy's dad is, to me, it doesn't resolve the situation or absolve the years of abuse from his father and the stress and pressure. Like, if I'm Troy sitting in that room at that time and his dad comes in and is like, hey, just go out there and have fun, I would be like, screw you. Go out there and have fun. Are you kidding me? No, I've been training for years. We have to win this game. Are you going to phone it in? I'm only one guy. I need you calling the right plays, Dad. I'm not going to have fun if we don't win, Dad. I'm very upset if we lose. Dad, don't just take me to Applebee's and pretend it's all cool, Dad. I've got to win this game. I have to win this game. There's scholarships on this, Dad. I might get a scholarship. Chad might get a scholarship. This is important. You said there were going to be scouts here. We have to win. Let's amp up the pressure a little bit. I'm not with Troy just accepting the apology from his father, because he doesn't apologize. He's just like, just go out there and have fun, kiddo. Shut up, Troy Bolton's dad. I hate you.
I mean, it's a valid point, but at the same time, like, they did not have the time in this movie to deal with that kind of like second act conflict for Troy's relationship with his dad.
But they set it up so hard that that's going to be the conflict.
But I mean, there's 2 more movies to go yet.
That's true. But I very much thought it was going to be like, what it was going to come down to was not a scheduling conflict, but what it was going to come down to is Troy being like, no, I want to audition for the musical, and his dad being like, not a chance, kid. I don't care if you quit the basketball team, you're still not doing drama.
Not my son.
That's Chad's role in this.
No son of mine will do drama. I will say the one thing that truly impressed me, and it's one of those things where like you have to know the answer to get the question wrong, to get all the questions wrong on a test. Like you have to know all the answers. But Zac Efron standing there in the scene where he's like super mad and leaves practice and goes home and shoots on one of his 2 at-home basketball courts. And my man misses, like barely misses, about 8 straight 15-foot jumpers in a row, which is just as much an incredible feat to me as like hitting the exact same spot every time.
Right.
And I'm just like, Zac Efron.
This is one of my favorite things about Troy is that, like, it's a common theme with him when he doesn't know what to do or like how to deal with his feelings, or he's just like really conflicted about something or upset. He just goes and shoots some hoops. And I just really like that about him.
we should all do that. I want a basketball hoop now because like there's so much to learn. It's a great activity.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler, you live in a cul-de-sac. It's your job to have a basketball hoop.
I know, my neighbor had one and then they moved. I was so mad.
Right, so now you got to put one up.
Yeah, this responsibility is full on you. The whole neighborhood, the scholarships that could be riding.
You cannot be the basketball hoop dad because I know that you have not shot a basketball long enough that you will be able to go make a shot.
Oh my god! Here's the problem with the basketball hoop dad being me is the bottom of my driveway. The way my cul-de-sac is set up is like my house shouldn't even be here. There's like enough space. Like my house is the correct amount of space between my 2 neighbors. So we're just all a little too close. And then because they all meet in the cul-de-sac, our driveways are too close. So if I had a basketball hoop, they couldn't deliver mail. So I can't get a basketball hoop.
That's fair. Yeah.
But I could put one in front of my neighbor's house. They probably would be super mad.
Why is this movie a musical? I don't like this as a musical is the problem.
It works.
I think with me is because it misses on the point of being a movie musical because most of the actual and I have this problem with a lot of these Disney musicals is that they have like 4 songs in them and call themselves musicals. And it still remains true to this day, even up to like Frozen, where the last 45 minutes of the movie has no songs.
Should have been a rock opera.
Should have been
everything should be sung.
At least a company number at the end. This one had that.
Yeah,
it goes on forever.
It goes on forever, and it has nothing to do with anything. But like, I wasn't expecting sung through like Les Mis, but I was expecting a bunch of songs, right? Like I was expecting like dialogue songs where things actually happen and we use them. These are the kind of musicals I don't like. Is musicals that do not use the songs to progress the plot.
Oh, I actually thought this did that fairly well, believe it or not. Like the music, the songs are so vague and big picture, but they are progressing the plot forward. Like the first song is between Troy and Gabriella.
Is really the only one that does that for me.
I see what you're saying. That's the only one with like proper nouns where they like address people.
Well, yeah, where anything if you have to be holding a microphone the whole time, then it's not a musical. Like if the character needs to have a microphone or needs to be like on stage to wrap the music into your story, that's just a movie. Like he's just auditioning for a musical.
So this is where I've given it like a 7 out of 10, a 72, because it's almost like it can't decide between, is this a show about a High School Musical, which is kind of what High School Musical, the series does, or is it a musical, like you said, with the songs that progress the plot? And it's kind of both and doesn't ever decide which one is which. So, like, this is where you get, like, you know, Troy, you can't sing, but we've all just done a big company number about the fact you can't sing while singing to you.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong on the topic of Troy can't sing. Is that not Zac Efron's voice?
Not in this one.
That is not Zac Efron's voice, but they wrote apparently the music in High School Musical 2 and 3, like for Zac Efron to be able to sing.
Because he can sing. He's like a really good singer.
Yeah. Well, he had to miss the tour.
He got done dirty in this one
because he was busy filming Hairspray.
Singing
as Lake Larkin.
Yeah.
This is my favorite Zac Efron movie musical so far.
What, and he doesn't even sing in it?
Yeah, correct. I'm not a big Hairspray fan, and I'm also not a big The Greatest Showman fan.
Fair enough.
But
you still got 2 more Zac Efron musicals to watch yet.
That's true. And we'll see what he sounds like when he actually sings
I was listening to some of the songs earlier, and they're just so good.
It is so weird to me that he is this young. Like, I get that he was this young at one point and was acting, but it's like, I only know adult Zac Efron from like,
Oh, see, that's like
adult, not
just
adult movies. That's the wrong word, but like movies like Neighbors.
like Greatest Showman and Baywatch and
Yes.
Hairspray.
Yeah, it did strike me because I remember watching Greatest Showman and Hairspray and Neighbors and stuff like that and thinking like, man, he really keeps that baby face. You know, he stayed young. He doesn't look that old. And then I watched this and I was like, that is Dylan and Cole Sprouse in a trench coat. That is a child.
Yeah, he is a floppy-haired child.
The
Which
Sweet
is
Life
way
of
better
Zac
than
and
casting
Efron.
like 40-year-old guy to play Troy Bolton or something. Because this is like my only big complaint about teen movies and teen shows is that it really messed up my ability to tell anyone's age between like 18 and 35 in real life. Because I have no concept of what like a 23-year-old is supposed to look like versus a 33-year-old.
Y'all watch the Outer Banks show that was on Netflix last year around this time? Because those
I haven't
kids are
seen
supposed
that
to be
one.
16 years old and in high school, and those are grown adults that are older than me.
So that's actually something I liked about your movie was that like Joey King looks like a high schooler.
Yeah, they're all like high school age. So like Jacob was 19 when we filmed, and he's supposed to be like 18 in the movie.
And Joel Courtney is older than Jacob,
The first
right?
one. I think
In
Joel.
real life.
Yeah, Joel's like a year younger than me, I think. So he must have been, what, 22, 21 when we filmed?
Part of the
I will say
problem
this: 19-year-olds don't look like Jacob Elordi. That dude's hot.
That's what I was going to say. Is part of the problem is that like Zac Efron at 16 or whatever is better looking than I have ever been or will ever be. Right? Like that's the problem with actors is that like they're better looking than us.
They're just better than me in every way.
Like
They're just so beautiful.
there's the charisma factor, there's the whole good writing factor, and it's just like, so it's so hard to see yourself in some of these teen movies. Sometimes you're like, these people don't look like me, nor do they really look like anybody I went to high school with. But also, it's because they're actors. There's not that many of them, right? Like it would be the same like if you went to high school with LeBron James. You'd be like, that kid
He doesn't look like the rest of
that
us.
17-year-old is 6'8" and 247 pounds of raw muscle. He could rip me in half.
And all he does is dribble a
He's a
basketball when he's mad.
He's a full foot taller than me.
Oh my
And
god!
I will say, I do think that's something that these Disney Channel original movies have always succeeded at, is just using actual children to play children. I'm led to believe that, especially in the 90s and the early 2000s, that there was just horrible contracts that made nobody any money and everything was terrible. And these kids are like, oh, I was in the Disney Channel original movie and it ruined my life. Unless you're Zac Efron, in which case you've been handed the keys to the kingdom. Congratulations, my dude. Good job on that jawline.
It's not just on Disney though. Like the dude from Ned's Declassified just turned 30, and he lives with one of the other guys from the show. And like,
Yeah, the guy who, like the character who used to bully him.
yeah, and like he's not making it.
I mean, yeah.
Although, man,
Yeah.
if Nickelodeon was to like do a Nick at Night Ned's Declassified guide to your IRS, oh man.
That would be crazy. I would
I hate it when they hate that.
Devin Moorcross teach you how to do taxes.
Like he knows.
But yeah, that is not to say that I don't like the songs that I like. I don't like Ryan and Sharpay's songs. I think that's the point, though.
Okay.
Oh, I disagree. I thought Ryan and Sharpay's songs were really good. I thought the point was that like there's this really interesting thing you have to do is you have to like get somebody to go up there and perform. Hey, Ryan and Sharpay. I don't know where this came from. You had to get somebody to go up there and perform, and then you have to get somebody to go up there and perform better. And I think that's like an interesting feat in like High School Musical level storytelling. To like, we're going to make a pretty good song and then a really good song.
See, I prefer the rearrangement they do for their audition.
No.
Like, no offense to Kelsey, but I
would die for
It's
Kelsey.
just-
Facts.
Oh, same.
Facts.
Yeah.
She's the only one I care about. Is she in the other
That
ones?
is one of my favorite things was Troy as well. But like, yeah, Ryan and Sharpay songs, "Bop to the Top" is a phenomenal tune. It is a bop. It's just so catchy and it's so much fun. And then their rearrangement is just like this is where I think they like it was an injustice that Troy and Gabriella got the parts because Sharpay and Ryan put so much effort in, like the costumes, the choreography. They have done the work, and Troy and Gabriella just kind of show up,
Can sing.
even though they're good.
This movie does make the wild claim, especially in Troy's part, that just raw talent will get you everywhere in life, no matter what. Like he doesn't. I mean, he works at basketball, obviously, but he's a talented basketball player, and he also is just like, and I can sing great too. Never
And I'm
worked
the
at it in
best
my life.
singer in this school.
Never even tried until 2 weeks ago. Best singer in this school. Turns out talented people are
This is what-
talented. Who knew?
This is one of the things I love so much about Troy's character, though, is that even like in this movie, he's so like unsure of himself and so vulnerable, and like it's not like really part of his storyline so much, but you can really see it in the way that like Zac Efron acts it out. Like when he's sat with Gabriella up on the rooftop and he's kind of like sort of hunched forward and stuff, and he's just kind of like fidgeting with his hands and stuff, and he doesn't think that anyone else in that school sees him as anyone other than the playmaker, the basketball guy. Whereas, like, you know, with Kelsey, when she drops her stuff all over the stage, he's immediately like there helping her and like, oh, hey, so you wrote this whole thing. That's really cool. Like, trying to have a conversation with her about this thing that she's interested in. And as soon as Chad says, Zeke is baking, he's like, oh, cool. What's creme brulee? Tell me about that.
I know.
And he's just like so nice to everybody, but he doesn't think that anyone likes him because of who he is.
So not only,
I think it's so
let's
nice.
get this straight. Not only is Troy the best looking guy in the school, he's also the best basketball player. He's also the best singer. He's also just the nicest guy in the school. Like, imagine being a kid who has like problems speaking with people, or isn't good at basketball, or isn't a prodigy at singing. Like, what if Troy wanted to go out for drama? This is where I think the story gets better. Troy wants to go out for the play, really has to work at it. This is my version of High School Musical.
Okay.
Troy goes out and he's like, he does his audition and he botches it. So then he has to go back to the drama teacher who sucks and be like, listen, I know I'm the basketball guy, I know I'm the playmaker, but like this past summer I saw Hamilton, I loved it, and I want to do drama and I want to learn, right? And now like he has to like really work at it because when it's just talent, it just doesn't do it for me. It's just not there, you know, like, and maybe we can still have, you know, he sings this song, but he forgets what song it was. So he doesn't remember that song that he can sing or something like that. I don't know.
What I will say for Troy's singing ability is, and also he's really funny, and no one ever like comments on that. Like
Yes.
Gabriella says something to him about how he can sing, and he's like, yeah, my shower head is really impressed with me.
Yeah.
Which like I never saw as a joke when I was a kid, but now like it just makes me howl with laughter.
That is funny.
Like,
I missed that line.
This guy is a born performer. Like when he's doing the karaoke with Gabriella, and he's like holding the microphone stand and like leaning it down, and he's like just really getting into it and having fun with it. And then when he's rehearsing with Kelsey, because he is putting in the work and doing the practice, like he's got this, I don't know, is it like a drumstick or something? And he's using it like a microphone. He's just like sweeping around the room, like really going for it. And I just think like you could tell this is something that you just really, really enjoy doing. You just really went for it. And I know what you mean. Like it would be better if he had to if you saw him work for it a bit more, but
Right.
he's just he's so enthusiastic, and I feel like that counts for a lot.
I agree. I want to talk about, a lot of people say that this is just an adaptation of Grease, where like he meets the girl at summer camp in Greece, the New Year's party, and then they go back to school, and this is like a little less rapey, but it's the same thing. I disagree.
I've never seen Grease.
You've never seen Grease?
No.
What?
Go Grease.
Okay.
I know everybody, like, every time I say this to
Grease
somebody,
lightning,
they're just
go
like,
Grease
what?
lightning. Yeah, I just don't. That doesn't compute with me. So Beth,
I've never seen Grease.
we'll talk about this. Like that's how they meet, but like that's not the Romeo and Juliet forbidden romance story of this movie. I feel like the challenge of Troy and Gabriella being together is present but minimal compared to
no one's there like, oh, you can't date Gabriella, you can't date Troy.
right.
Well, like
I guess
Taylor,
they have that
Taylor and
scene.
Chad are a little bit, but they're mostly like,
The dad
you can't
tries
do
it.
the drama thing, and this is how we're going to ruin it, is through your relationship
Right.
with this person.
The dad tries to get on Gabriella, and he's just like, look, you've never missed practice in 3 years. This girl shows up, and now you miss practice. Which, honestly, I don't want to agree with Mr. Bolton, but, like, he's not wrong there. Where, like,
he's making a valid point.
Where, like, your execution might be poor, but I understand where you're coming from. Of like, all of a sudden your son's seeing this person and
This floozy.
this and is
She's a nice girl.
She's a nerd. She even looks like a nerd. That girl's
She's
not the
a freaky
prettiest
math
girl to ever
genius.
walk into East High.
I mean, yeah, like there's just none of that. Like there is no issue with them. I mean, yeah, Chad and Taylor, I guess, team up for a little bit. What I missed, honestly, and this may have just been me not watching close enough, is like, when did it switch for Chad and Taylor? Because it felt like all of a sudden they were just like, oh, wait, what we did was wrong. I felt like there was a scene missing.
See, now I'm going to have to, like, scroll through my notes and figure this out.
That was
Give
my
me a
experience
second.
as well, because I feel like there should have been like a date scene between Chad and Taylor where they're like, is what we did wrong? And then they'd be like, oh my God, what we did is terrible.
Right. It seemed like they came to that conclusion separately, but also together, but also separately.
No, yes, okay, so there's like a really small scene in the cafeteria where Gabriella doesn't sit with her gang to have lunch, and Troy takes himself off to go and eat lunch alone on the roof instead of sitting with his friends.
Okay.
And like, there's like, I think there's like a little beat there where I don't know if Chad and Taylor interact at all, but they both have their own interactions with like Troy and Gabriella, where they're like, hey,
Right.
come sit with us, and they go, no. And then they sit down really sadly with their lunch. At that point, they go, oh yeah, like we messed up.
We done
Yeah.
good.
Oh, we
Fix
made
this.
our friends sad trying to get what we wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that I've been hard on Troy's dad and on Chad.
We should be hard on Taylor.
We should be hard on Taylor. Also, this is a failure to communicate more than anything else, because it's just a scheduling conflict, right? That's all there is. This is like Evan Hansen not telling them, actually, Connor didn't write that letter, I did. Where like, if Troy just sits down with his dad, I'm not going to put the weight on Troy because there's a lot of pressure on him. But if Troy just sits down with his dad or sits down with his friends and is like, hey guys, I'm in the basketball game. I'm like excited to win that. I do want the scholarships. I'm all about it. But I also want to do drama. Where I think Troy loses some steam is, Troy, you are the team captain. You did make a commitment to this, and you do need to be there. You can't just skip practice.
You can't just skip practice, right?
Like, you can't skip games.
Like, if
No.
you're going to do both, you have to be
You have to
present
do
for...
both.
Yeah.
To be fair, this basketball team does seem to practice many times a day. Sometimes in their full game uniforms.
Midday practice.
I have questions about the timeline here. And I don't know if this is just me not understanding American high school culture. In my head, it took me until literally today to realize, oh yeah, this is taking place in January.
Yeah.
Because in my head, it's always a back to school thing. It is the winter musicale, which I can only imagine has to take place within the next 6 weeks. to be the winter one instead of the spring musicale. The big game and stuff is 2 weeks from the start of term.
That part is accurate.
Yes, absolutely true.
That is accurate.
Yes.
That part is accurate. Now, the musical varies from school to school. I would say most schools do a fall show and a spring show. We did just one show in the spring. And auditions would have been after basketball season was over. It would have been like a spring sport.
Yeah.
Okay, so the timeline isn't an issue in this one then.
Timeline is not an issue. It probably would have been called the spring musicale just because it takes place in the spring half of the year, the spring semester.
Yeah, we don't have a winter term. We have fall term.
Yeah, basketball starts like November and goes to like February.
Okay.
So
this is making much more sense for me now.
It goes over the break, and there's always that weird thing of like, oh, hey, we're going to come back for a game during winter break. And anybody who's around, like, show up and stuff. They do this in college, too, and they just play to, like, empty stadiums and empty arenas because all the students are gone.
See, like, I don't think if we ever had, like, a school rugby match, I think they played to, like, an empty field bar, whatever parents decided to wait for their kids to finish the game.
So in the Big Two, football and basketball, students would always attend not always attend the games, but there would always be students at the games.
So Tyler and I were in marching band, so we were at every football game. But period in high school. But I probably went to like, I don't know, 30 basketball games when I was in high school.
Yeah, and we would go to like, if our school went to like the state championship, we would bring a band and we would go. And we would like bus students out there. It was fun.
Yeah, our school actually did
so
win.
The movies didn't lie about that much. Okay.
No. High school sports are a big deal for most schools. At least most schools of a certain size. Like you definitely have around here, especially where we live, you have schools that have like 100 people or whatever, and they just can't. It's not going to look like it does in the movies because you have 100 people in the school. Like most of them, if you have a football team, most of them are on the football team. But yeah, I would go to basketball games all the time. It was a lot of fun. And we would get loud and yell and stomp on the floor and make horrible comments at the other team. And it was a good time.
It does sound fun. Okay, I retract my comment about the timeline confusing.
Yeah,
me
basketball is weird. It is neither a fall nor a winter sport. Usually, like football happens in the fall, soccer happens in the fall, baseball happens in the spring, basketball happens both.
So we basically just did rugby or football and then cricket.
We did not have a cricket team. I'll tell you that much. Oh yeah, we had a bunch of sports. There's like legislation about how many sports you have to have if you have sports.
Title IX.
Yeah, so that we get the correct amount of men's and women's sports, and everybody gets their chance to play. And you can't have X if you don't have Y. Like if you have football, you have to have softball. All kinds of things. You have to field a men's basketball team and a women's basketball team.
Things today.
Sorry, if you have football, you have to have volleyball, and if you have baseball, you have to have softball. And that's true across sports. I mean, across like schools, like in college and stuff too.
Yeah. So the other thing that I just remembered I wanted to say is I would love to see Twinkletown the musicale, because I have no idea what the heck this musical that they're supposed to put on is about. There's a camel, there's like what I guess is a talking tree, Arnold and Minnie.
Now,
the songs that they
songs don't make any sense.
Our high school did not have a good drama department, but I can tell you this just from talking to, I don't know, literally everybody I've ever met. A musical composed by a student in the school would have been an extraordinary thing.
wouldn't have happened.
That just doesn't happen. You just do Sondheim, right? Like you do The Wizard of Oz or Into the Woods. Like you just
right.
You don't go, hey, we've got a talented piano player. Would you like to write a musical for us to perform? And we're going to call it a musicale. What you looking for, T? You seem like you're
I'm looking for a photo of our student section when we were in high school from a football game to give Beth here an idea.
I'm going to try and find a picture from my school and send it to you guys as well, because it's...
So did you have a cool uniform that you got to wear?
I wouldn't say cool. It was like one of those polyester jumpers, like a sweater. We were navy and blue with and the tie was blue, yellow, and red stripes on navy.
Okay.
And then when you got to sixth form, it was black and white. So white shirts, black jumpers, cardies, trousers, whatever. And you could basically wear whatever you want as long as it wasn't jeans or leggings and no trainers. And
wait, you can wear whatever you want as long as it wasn't jeans or jeans and leggings is what I want.
Oh yeah. No, like you have to wear like proper like trousers, like formal trousers, like you would wear to an office kind of trousers.
Okay. And the boys have to wear shorts until they turn 13 or whatever?
Like that's the summer uniform in primary school. It's like until you're sort of 10, 11 and you move up to big school.
Okay.
So the boys wear shorts in summer, but again, it's like sort of formal shorts, not like a pair of denim or khaki shorts or anything. And the girls have like checkered summer dresses. Which you don't have to wear. Like you can wear your regular school uniform of like trousers.
Gotcha. Okay. You're debunking some of the myths that I hold in my mind about schooling in the UK. But like everybody has to wear a uniform. Like everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
and
not
then
a
sometimes
thing.
you have, I think in England they're called mufti days.
Okay.
Like non-uniform, where you could just wear basically whatever you want.
Yeah, so like most schools in America don't have a uniform, especially most public schools. There was a big push when we were in school to try to get like legislation pushed through to, there were big pushes all over the place to do uniforms. It was a big hot topic when we were coming up in elementary school of like all schools should have uniforms, XYZ. And there are very good reasons for that that I'm not going to get into. But I will tell you what would not be allowed in any school in America is Ryan's hats. You can't wear hats in
But
school.
they're so iconic.
Right, but you can't wear hats in school.
So just sent you a picture of what my school looks like, just like for comparison.
Tyler, you got another minute to find this thing, bud.
I know. I'm here. Ryan can't wear hats. Straight up. You can't wear a hat to school. Ever. You can't chew gum. That was a big thing. Although, like, who knows what the rules are now? Like, they have their cell phones in school. They have all sorts of stuff.
Oh, the cell phone thing is 100% true to life accurate of how that was treated in 2006. I lost my phone in school a bunch of times. You have to go like pick it up for the principal at the end of the day.
Yeah. It would end up in like a teacher's desk and you have to go and collect it.
Yeah, that's 100% true to life.
Ryan must have like some kind of permission slip that allows him to wear those hats to school. Like everyone gives him a pass on it because they look so good and they just tie the whole outfit together.
Look, in 2006, at least at our high school, boys who wore hats like that would not have been celebrated. I mean, listen, I would celebrate them today, but
I don't think that Ryan and Sharpay were celebrated. I don't think anybody liked them except for that one kid who liked Sharpay, and she wouldn't give him the time of day.
All right, I cannot find this freaking picture. I can imagine it. It was in the SWOCO Once Upon a Dream. That's our local
newspaper publication for the county, part of the county that we live in.
This is one of the things as well I don't get about Zeke, the baker. If my friend suddenly said to me, actually, I really like baking, I would be angry with them, but only because I'd be like, well, why haven't I been like showered in cookies and brownies and slices of cake all
These are
this time?
scholarship basketball players. They don't have time for
because
sweets.
because in 2006, if you baking was a gay thing to do if you were a guy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And Disney was a little overtly homophobic with this one.
Just a bit.
It's I mean like you didn't if you were a straight guy in 2006 in high school, you didn't bake. That was not
Definitely didn't
that
talk
was not
about
an
it.
interest that you could have shown, especially if you were on the championship basketball team.
Yeah, to be fair, I remember cooking classes at our school whenever it was baking and stuff like that. You know, it was always, like I said, physics was a boys' subject, cooking classes were a girls' subject. This is why you should watch Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off.
It sounds like we should watch this $1 Million Cook-Off.
See that?
I didn't expect to mention it even once, but it's clearly on my mind today.
So that's wild to me. I guess I don't know, like in all of my science classes were absolutely dominated by women when I was in high school. 100%, like they did the and this
Women and
this remained true to through all of the classes I took in college as well. Like women are better students, hands down, than men. I don't like. I was not present for the misogyny, I guess. Like, it would never have occurred to me to be like, oh, science is a boys' subject.
Yeah, same. Now that
that's what I'm saying. Not to say it didn't happen. If that happened, I did not. I was not.
well, if we went into engineering at Virginia Tech, it would have been very apparent.
Yeah.
It still would be. You know,
Like,
I mean,
I was the only girl in my physics class. There was another class that had 2 girls in, but I was the only one in mine. Because they were like quite small classes. There was maybe about 15, 20 in each class through A level, like the last 2 years of school when I did it.
yeah, that would have been the
Whereas
same.
biology and
at our
chemistry,
high
they were
school.
like much more balanced.
Yeah, my AP physics class was probably 15 people, and 10 of them were girls.
You
I
think you
respect
can name
it.
everybody from your AP Physics class? I bet you could.
No, I couldn't.
Cameron Goody.
You could see the gears
Cameron
working.
was there, yeah. Mikey Conley was in that one. I know that much because we were the only ones that decided that hadn't taken calculus, so we couldn't take the physics B exam, the one that you have to do calculus for, or C or whatever it is. And so we dicked around and played Minecraft all day for 3 weeks.
Nice.
While the other kids got a crash course in calculus-based physics.
Minecraft when we were in high school was such a fascinating thing because it was so early in the like alpha stages.
Oh, yeah.
That in order to have Minecraft, you had to like know somebody who knew the developer who could like mail you the USB stick that it was on. Obviously, this isn't the case. It was a little bit more loosey-goosey than that. But like, it was such early stages of Minecraft. I remember it coming out and usually I feel like I get these trends right. I remember when Minecraft came out, I was like, this is stupid stuff. Never going to catch on. And here we are.
Yeah, I bought it for like $5 when it was in the alpha stage and got like an email from the developer being like, thanks for buying my weird little game. Enjoy. And now it's Minecraft and it's everywhere. There are professional Minecraft YouTubers that have millions of subscribers and make a bunch of money. And here I was, an early top tier Minecraft player, just squandering my talent. So weird.
Sorry, we were talking about High School Musical, I believe, before.
Yes.
We've made
My
it so
job
far
interrupted.
talking all about High School Musical. This is a record on this
I do truly
freaking
think
show.
my chief complaint is the fact that there are not more songs. Like, I really expected them to get to the school and for Corbin Bleu to have a song about, like, hey guys, we're back at school. Instead, they just do a really weird dance break where they all get in their basketball uniforms in the middle of the day.
I was about to say, what did you guys think of Get Your Head in the Game?
So that is the common thread, is not that Troy does drama, it's that he is not thinking about drama. Right? Like, I don't think they would care at all if he did it after the game. But
Yeah.
the thought of like Troy being distracted by drama or this girl or anything other than basketball, which is like, Dad, do you know he has class too? He has like other responsibilities. He's probably got some involvement in his local church or something. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what Troy does on the weekends.
He plays
But, like,
basketball.
Yeah, he does basketball. Yeah, so like the fear is that Troy's head is not in the game, that he's, instead of running down the court, he's thinking about hitting his marks, his got his boxes set or whatever. What is the theater terms? He's got a stage left. He's going to say, hey, Chad, stage left. Instead of...
Right. Yeah. He's thinking
Instead
about
of shoot
drama
the
instead of
outside,
thinking about
Jay.
basketball. So he's got to get his head in the game. And I like, obviously it's a musical. You can do whatever you want. You can have like, that's sort of the power of musicals, that you can have random dance breaks and songs and stuff. But it just sort of doesn't line up with the plot at all. And I don't see a reason for that. Like, they could have just been at practice and done it. But they weren't. They like stop the movie to do this and then have practice later that day, because that's when Troy has detention and can't go to practice. Which I also don't think is how that works at all.
No, if you have detention, they do not take you out of sports.
Yeah. Yeah, not at all.
School lives and dies by the sports team. It gets funding from the state and funding from ticket sales. It needs the sports.
I do quite like in this film actually the rivalry that you get to see between Darbus and Coach Bolton. Just because I don't know, I just think it's really fun that they did that and you got to see some of the teachers as well.
Right.
Instead of literally just the cast of the teens.
That's my whole problem with the plot, though, is the rivalry between Ms. Darvis and Mr. Coach Bolton. Is that Coach Bolton can't just be like, hey, so my kid Troy wants to be in your musical, but we have a game and you scheduled the pointless callback audition that could be literally any time at the same time as two school-sanctioned competitive events. Is there any shot that we can do the audition at, like, I don't know, 7 o'clock since this game's at 3:30 p.m.?
But I guess
Also,
Troy,
the first audition was during study hall. Which,
Yeah.
like, apparently everyone has the same study hall.
Oh, yeah, during free period.
That's not a thing. That's not real.
Also, yeah, you
Okay.
don't go, you wouldn't, the basketball team wouldn't all meet up to get in the gym during free period.
No. There is no
Okay.
free period.
see, this is what I mean. There's a lot of things that you just like, as a British person, you just you suspend your belief because you're not sure what they're exaggerating, or what's like done that's convenient for the movie, and what is like, you know, actual American high school culture.
If you had a free period, it wouldn't be the same time as everyone else. Like, you couldn't, the basketball team couldn't meet during your study hall or free
Because there
period.
would only be like 3 of them at a time or something.
Because yours might be during the second block of the day, and then your teammates are the fourth block of the day.
yeah, that's kind of what ours were like as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and most people didn't have a study hall because you have to take classes.
Right. You only get a study hall if you'd like fulfilled your diploma requirements.
Right. If you just didn't have something to do.
Yeah, so this was where, like, in sixth form, when you're doing your A-levels, because it's only... So I did 4, and I was the only person in my school to do 4 A-levels. Everyone else did 3. And
Look at you, overachiever
I
to
was.
the max.
I was top of my year at GCSE as well.
Oh my
Look
gosh.
at you.
I was the freaky math girl. And then I
You
was
were
like,
a real
no, I'm
Gabriella.
going to be Troy Bolton instead. But no, like... so everyone, because they only had 3 classes effectively, everyone had the same amount of free time. It was just at different times because of it depended which classes you took. And then I had fewer free classes because I, took an extra one. Although we did use them very wisely. I remember we took a road trip around a couple of different supermarkets looking for Pokemon cards one time.
Yeah, everybody should go hunting for Pokemon
Yeah.
cards.
Things that
You
would
can
have
get
been
this-
absolutely wild in our school.
Look, you can get this nice new Eternatus from Shining Fates. It's black and gold. Or I really like to have this new style of rare, this Yveltal, where it just kind of breaks the frame.
That's
Big
me.
fan.
I have somehow gotten myself on like rare Pokemon card grading TikTok.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've been there. It's because you know me.
And
That's how that happens.
They like get into fights.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that
And
sounds
like
intense.
like individual grading of a card
Right.
costs like $300.
Right. And all the comments are like, oh, you know, this guy is an idiot. I can't believe that, like, your card is so much better than his. I can't believe he would even try to show up with this card. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You know what you're talking about. And the creators in the content's like, yeah, screw that guy. His cards are garbage. And I'm like, y'all are grown adults. Like, what are you doing? Why are you?
That is intense.
There's a race to be like
Because
the first person to grade a new card, and they'll like lie about it.
Yeah, so yeah. There's a lot of money in it. Like they treat it like the stock market.
Right.
Oh my god.
Like my Yveltal, or not Yveltal, my Eternatus here wouldn't do well because if you look at the back of the card, it's not centered well. I don't know if you can tell, but the box.
Yeah, dude, even if
there's
it's brand new, you wouldn't score
more
above a
space
90.
on this side. Well, a 9. They're great at it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. This wouldn't be get a 9. No, that could be like an 8 or 7.
Yeah.
See, I know like the bare minimum about Pokemon and Pokemon cards, but like there's some other kids at school who liked it, and I was just like, I'm just gonna go along for the ride. I'm just gonna sit and watch you all have fun with this.
Oh man, I'm
So I've
pretty
not
sure
ended
high
up on
school
Pokemon
me.
TikTok yet. I'm still stuck on reenactments of Greek mythology in D&D style TikTok.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good spot.
I would love
live.
to be on that
Yeah.
TikTok. That sounds like way better.
It's very fun.
So me in high school would have definitely bullied somebody for skipping class to go buy Pokemon cards, despite the fact that until I was 18, I played Yu-Gi-Oh at like a highly competitive level.
Oh.
Like
We had
Big
like one
tournaments.
kid in school who was into Yu-Gi-Oh.
I knew that kid. We were friends.
You were that kid.
It was me. It was me in a trench coat. Me and Dylan and Cole Sprouse.
Which is wild because we live in like the home of Magic the Gathering.
We do. I actually just met a photographer who used to work at Star City Games.
That is so
And-
cool.
Yeah, it's not actually where it's from, but we have like the biggest like Magic the Gathering store in the world here to this day.
Yeah.
And they host like
It's just-
professional level tournaments, and like Star City Games will go to other cities and put up conventions and tournaments for Magic the Gathering.
Now, it being
I love
the
that.
biggest store is a little misleading. It is a store that has a lot of space. It is like, I haven't been there in probably 10 years, so I have no idea if they've redecorated. But like the actual storefront part of it is like a 10 by 10 square in the front of the building. It just happens to be in a giant warehouse where they can host tournaments.
What's absolutely insane is that John Darnielle from the Mountain Goats apparently hops in his car, drives 3 hours, and shops and buys his Magic cards at that store.
I've wanted to get into the game for a while
Like-
now, and I'm very close to spending $1,000 on this.
Jesus.
Sometimes you just gotta.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta buy a new hobby and drop $1,000 on it, apparently.
And then it's the ADHD in my brain will be like, I love this game, and then in like 3 weeks I'll be like, I've never heard of her.
I'm
Who is
sitting
that?
like I have like a fully analog synthesizer on my desk right now, so what am I talking about? I have hobbies.
You're talking into a $400 microphone.
That's true, but I make money off this.
See, so I'm in the middle of like trying to buy a house at the minute, and I keep telling myself like, when I've got the house, I'm gonna buy like a really like good, cool lightsaber, or like when I've got the house,
Yes.
I'm gonna buy a violin. I haven't played I played the violin when I was
Hell
in school
yeah.
for like 3 years, and I wasn't good at it. But all of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get myself a violin.
Everyone should buy a cool lightsaber.
Oh my god, I'm so
Is
jealous.
that your Disney one? He can't hear me.
Everyone.
Oh my god. See, this is where like we had the Physics Society in university did a Star Wars theme night out, and all the other girls went as like Padme, Leia.
Boo!
I went as Darth Vader with a hand-sewn cloak, and I made myself a mask and like the lightsaber hilt.
Yes.
How does it feel to be cooler than all of your friends?
It's literally the best thing ever, Ethan.
Like
It is better. It is awesome to be cooler
your life
than you.
is exactly everything I know about England and Wales and the whole United Kingdom based on movies. Is it like you're the main character because you show up dressed as Darth Vader to the hen night where everybody's dressed as the sexy women characters? Like you are the main character in your own television show.
I've made myself the main character, and I haven't given my friends a choice in the matter. But they love me anyway, thankfully.
I'm so excited we're hanging out. You're the coolest person I know.
See, that's what I think about you guys, though. I'm like, oh my God, they're just so cool.
We're not cool.
Yeah, we just
we're
make
lame.
podcasts. I'm not even
We're like
making
white
this
guys.
podcast.
So cool.
You are. This is Ethan's show.
That's true. I've been on more episodes than Tyler.
This is why I feel like I have to like disclaim it, like I really want to spend my money on a lightsaber. I really like, I'll show up to Star Wars night out as Darth Vader instead of, any of the female characters. Not that there are that many, but, because this was pre-sequel trilogy, obviously. Because especially on TikTok, I've noticed people seem to think because I'm the author of The Kissing Booth, like I'm really cool and glamorous because I have a Netflix film and I'm a writer. I'm like, this is not the reality. Like, I am just a big nerd who spent a lot of time alone on their laptop.
But a lot of people who spend a lot of time alone on their laptop don't end up with a best-selling novel that gets turned into a movie. Like, I've spent a lot of time alone on my laptop, and...
And then you have a podcast network.
That's true.
That's true.
I'm not a good example.
That's true. But neither of us have Netflix movies made out of our books.
Or podcasts.
I mean, one day.
It would be very hard to make a Netflix movie out of Bacon and Eggs.
Netflix.
Oh, no, it could be like a good buddy comedy.
Here, Beth, here's your pitch next time you're in the Netflix room. Dear Netflix
I have never
CEO,
been in the Netflix room, but yeah.
You should make Bacon and Eggs a movie lovers movie.
Movie lovers movie.
And then just give Ethan and I full autonomy to write whatever we want.
It'll end
I
up
see exactly
like The
zero
Room.
problem with this.
It will not. Don't give us any guidelines. Don't teach us how to do anything. Just our first screenwriting adventure. Let us make the whole thing. And directed by Ron Howard. I don't write the rules. That's just how it works.
I mean, obviously.
Obviously, because Ron Howard is so cheap and available.
But
I'll take Bryce Dallas Howard.
We'll obviously have to have like a musical part of it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Obviously. So we'll have to get Kenny Ortega in to do that, and you can live your full High School Musical dreams.
I gotta watch two more
You've
of these
just
movies.
discovered having watched the movie for the first time.
Bacon and Eggs, a High School Musical. The eggs of all our dreams.
The worst
village in Roanoke.
So the problem with the Ratatouille is that most of those songs absolutely slap. And that one is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. I get that was the joke and whatever, and the company number sucks, and it's just a joke, and then everybody turned it into a real thing and made actually good songs. And just do it though. Just get rid of the company number.
They did. The official musical doesn't have the company number.
I didn't watch the Ratatouille.
Oh, it was really good.
I didn't have time for.
It's on YouTube now.
Is it?
Is it?
I have no idea. I haven't seen it.
I did see there was a video that I've taken to be canon for the Ratatouille where Colette and Linguini have a conversation what can we call the rat? We can't keep calling him Little Chef. And then they make a joke well, your name is Linguini, so we should name him after a food. And Colette jokes, what about Ratatouille? And Remy sort of, squeaks up and they're like, oh, you like that? Okay, we'll call you Ratatouille.
That's so good.
You know what? I buy it. This is canon now for me in the Ratatouille.
No, I did not watch the Ratatouille. I was busy reading books.
Have you seen Raya and the Last Dragon? I ask because I haven't. So
No, I'm avoiding all content about it.
me too.
I don't want the spoilers, but my dad owns the Disney Plus account, so I need to ask him if I'm allowed to. Well, you know, I don't want to just like I don't want to just do it, and then he's like, "What is this weird charge on my bill?" And I've like forgotten to tell him about it or something.
Just Venmo him like
you have to
whatever
pay
the
for
cost
it?
is. Yeah.
Oh.
Or you can go to the theater.
Oh. A hot chance in
But
hell I'm watching
I
it
don't think
then.
we have any open cinemas here. We're still in lockdown.
Yeah, I wish we were.
Yeah. It'd be nice if we were. But
We just put one of our theaters out of business instead of reopening them. It was great.
Oh.
Yeah, a whole
I still have tickets on my fridge from that I bought like this time last year that were for Phantom,
nice.
and obviously it got cancelled. It was supposed to be last April, but
Right.
they remain on the fridge in the hope that one day I will return to the theatre.
what was the last movie you saw in the cinema?
Onward.
Onward.
Same.
So my sister came to stay with me for a weekend, and my mum didn't want us to go because they'd started talking about coronavirus and stuff in the news, but it wasn't like no one was using the word pandemic at that point. But she was a bit worried about it, and we were like, "Nah, it'll be fine." What did we know? But yeah, we went to watch Onward like not very long before lockdown started.
Yeah. I saw it with a Brit. I mean, we saw it with Seamus.
Yeah.
A year ago today, I was hanging out
He
with
got
Seamus.
stuck,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah, and he was stuck in America.
Yeah, a year ago today, I was hanging out with Seamus drinking green Corona and talking about how we're all going to hang out in 2 weeks after the lockdown is over. That was 1 year ago, and Seamus got called back to England the next week.
It was such wishful thinking when we thought these will blow over.
Yeah, God,
People will listen.
they didn't.
I think no, they didn't. We are at wrap time though. We need to score.
Oh.
We've scored, but we need to do some. We need to read some listener reviews.
Yes, we do. You do that. I'm going to get the listener scores real quick.
All right. So we talked about High School Musical today. Oddly on topic. Very little deviation from topic. I do want to read some listener reviews here. Double W Teddy Trouble on Discord, 65 out of 100. I watched this movie for the first time this summer with a friend. Her nostalgia and enthusiasm definitely rubbed off on me, and the movie did beat my expectations, albeit they were low. It's very fun, and the music is catchy. I see why this is one of the classics, and if I had seen it when I was younger, I could predict that my score would be much higher. See, this is my only issue with Teddy's review here is I agree with every word you said, except just enjoy it. Just like it. Just do like it. Buy into the nostalgia. Give it an 83.
But you can't just buy into nostalgia if you don't have the nostalgia.
I think Teddy maybe wasn't alive in 2006 yet.
Like, you can't have fond memories of something you don't have fond memories of. You can't go to the store and buy them.
I do want to read one of these hundreds because I think the 100 scores are my favorites. And then I'll read a low one. This is from Go Tori on the Mountain. 100 out of 100. This movie is just a good time. The songs are catchy. Kenny Ortega's choreography is iconic, and the plot gives every character a chance to learn something and grow, except Troy's dad. At its core, this movie reminds you to be yourself. And that's a reminder we all need sometimes. All that said, I think the value of this movie transcends the 98 minutes you spend watching it. High School Musical became much more than a made-for-TV children's movie musical, but an overwhelming phenomenon that defined a generation to set the new Disney Channel original movie standard so high that it is yet to be matched by anything outside of this perfect trilogy. 15 years later, and the world is still so obsessed that we got a spin-off TV show. Even if it's not your cup of tea, I think it's impossible to ignore the cultural significance of this movie. I agree with Tori.
100% to the 100 out of 100.
I just don't know if I give it 100 for that. Although I do. So I was reading through a lot of the scores that people were leaving, and Beth, feel free to chime in. I feel like I'm talking a lot, and I want you to
Go for it. I feel like I'm talking a lot, so.
One thing I've seen as like a theme through a lot of these reviews is people will be like, 60 out of 100. I loved it, but I'm nostalgic, so I'm going to knock off 30 points. It's like, I think in my quest to educate people on the proper way to score films, maybe we lost the boat a little bit. If you freaking love this movie, then like score it as such.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
So where I did my movie reviews on Instagram, there was a point where, like, around the time when I was rewatching Onward and stuff, all the movies that I was reviewing were like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. There were a lot of 10s. And my sister texted me and she was like, you need to stop giving every movie you watch a 10 out of 10. I was like, but when I'm watching it, I am completely invested. I feel great after watching it. Like, it is a 10 out of 10 experience for me.
Right.
Like, and that's the only thing I'm scoring it on.
And
I will say for High School Musical, I did think when I gave it my 72, would I give it 100? Well, no, because it's not as good as the other ones. So, which I did give 10 out of 10s to.
I'm very curious. So my here's my bold prediction going into the second two, essentially having never seen them.
Yeah.
My best guess is that I'm going to think 2 is terrible. And this is no context. Just based on the fact that there was 2 made for TV and then 1 theatrical release, I think 2 is going to be really bad, like really not fantastic. And then I think 3 is going to be noticeably better than the first 2. And
so,
I think 1 will always have this sort of, this was the first one, this is what kicked it off. It's got this kind of a new hope, sort of like they hadn't really fleshed out the story, but we love it. It's not perfectly congruous.
like, if I was going to go and watch a High School Musical movie, I would have no hesitation going back and watching High School Musical 2.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm very curious then, because I mean, it could be that 1 was great and then 2 was even better, so that's how they got the funding to make the third one in the theater.
Yeah.
In the cinema.
The weird thing for me with the third one is the nostalgia value for that, because my sister went to watch it in the cinema, and at that point I was like a little bit too old for High School Musical, so I didn't get to go. Because like it was her and her friends from school, whatever, and I hadn't seen it properly until I rewatched it last summer. And then the nostalgia factor for that, it was kind of like going to the cinema to watch Force Awakens and feeling nostalgic for the original Star Wars trilogy that I had not seen until, like, you know, recently before Force Awakens.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited for the next 2 episodes that you guys do on High School Musical to see what your thoughts are on those.
I'm very excited. We have some really low scores for this one. I mean, like really low. I've got one right here, 28 out of 100 from Liam. Good songs, very cliche, but that's the point. 28 out of 100. Brutal. Cliche to what?
What's wrong with a cliche?
Yeah, these are popular. Lower than that, Wolf with the Yellow Gaze, 26 out of 100. I think if I didn't watch it like 12 years after it was made, I might have been able to connect with it more, but I just really couldn't get into it. I like the sequel more, though. Pretty fun music. 26. Gosh.
I can't tell if Ethan's reading something or if he's thinking really hard about these 26, 28 reviews.
No, he's taking all of the reviews people leave.
Okay,
we have a very manual system.
Done. That was a lot of scores. Jesus Christ. So
a lot of
people
scores
have thoughts
on
High School Musical.
Yeah. I don't think this movie is terrible because I didn't get to participate in that conversation because I was counting things. I don't think this movie is terrible. I don't think I don't have any nostalgia factor for it at all because I didn't watch it really at all until yesterday. But like, if I'm going to go for a movie that like obviously isn't the best movie ever made, but people love to love, like this doesn't do it for me the way that like the George Clooney Batman does, right? Like where it's not perfect. It's definitely not even the best one in the series. It does not do it for me the way like Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed does. I would just rather watch that sort of bad movie. Like this is not my favorite Disney Channel original musical that we've covered in the past month. I guess Cinderella wasn't Disney Channel, but you know what I mean.
Oh, I liked this more than Cinderella.
I did not even close. The songs are better in Cinderella by far.
I really love that Cinderella. I was so glad you guys covered it.
I love that movie.
See, I think I'm not a Cinderella fan because I don't like I don't really enjoy the original cartoon version very much.
Me either.
But the live action remake is my favourite film of all time, and I have really fond childhood memories of the Rodgers and Hammerstein one with Brandy and Whitney Houston and stuff. So I'm so excited you guys covered
the Lily
that.
James one is your favorite movie ever.
Yeah.
Wild.
We can make that happen.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. That's like...
I wrote that one got like a 4-part review on my Instagram, and that was like the condensed version.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it, so I would love to watch it. But like the Beauty and the Beast that they redid, the 2016 one.
You keep coming back to that one. I don't understand you.
Absolutely love that movie. I think it's fantastic.
I'm on the fence about that one. Like Luke Evans as Gaston and LeFou, like absolutely phenomenal, incredible. I prefer the plot holes and storyline in the Beast, but there's something about it that just feels a little bit off when I watch it. And I don't know if it's like the animation style and stuff like that.
I love the animation style. I love the choreography for like Be Our Guest. I think is amazing. Yeah, I really like
live
that
action
movie,
Aladdin or
but
bust. Sorry, I'm going to continue on this one.
So that was another one where there were things that I thought, like I went to cinema to see that on my own, and I just like I cried and I laughed and I tried not to sing along too loudly. I had a great time watching it. But as a remake, I was kind of like, again, on the fence. There were things I liked, there was some things I didn't like. Whereas the Cinderella remake, I'm like, yes, flawless.
The Cinderella remake is truly, an improvement in every facet over the cartoon. Just because I don't think the cartoon is anywhere near the quality of the so 90s movies.
It's just, I know it was like really good for the time and everything, but in terms of the storyline, and
really good for the time doesn't have to mean anything anymore. Like, you can just move past that. Like at this point, they've made enough movies that you're not hurting for them.
So recapping scores, I gave this movie an 83. Ethan gave it a 55. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 63. And then there was no Metacritic score. So rather than subbing your score for the Rotten Tomatoes audience, we're going to sub your score for Metacritic. You gave it a 72, your score being Beth. Listener score, we don't have just yet. Rotten Tomatoes audience was a 74. Ethan, are you ready with a listener score?
I am. It's a 75, 74.55.
75. Okay. That gives High School Musical a 70 on the dot.
Oh.
No decimals, nothing. Now, 70 is pretty low on the Bacon and Eggs board. It is not the losing film, but it is not at the top either.
What does it beat?
It beats Happiest Season and The Santa Claus.
I can live with
I feel
that.
like the Santa Claus got really hard done by. But that's a discussion for
We didn't
December.
like it very much.
I truly hated watching it. It was a
I think it's
miserable
like a
experience for
favorite
me.
in my family.
And it does, so this is notable, it does lose to Willow.
Which I still haven't seen. That was the week I wasn't
I
here.
haven't seen either.
Oh, you guys should watch Willow. You'll like it. And loses to The Great Gatsby.
Yeah, that's fair.
And a whole bunch of other movies. But that's my scores. We're over on time a little bit, but we had a little phone call break in there. So, Ethan, you ready to wrap the thing?
Yeah, let's do it. What are we plugging?
Oh, God.
We did Late to the Party last week.
Okay. I don't have Discord
No,
open.
we did not
Like
do Late to
Kissing
the Party
Booth
last
3
week.
available for pre-order now.
Oh, we obviously.
Yeah,
know that.
this is
100%.
off mic. We did not do Late to the Party last week. We did whatever is after Late to the Party.
Are you pulling it up or do you need me to pull it
No,
up?
yeah, I thought you were pulling up.
Okay. Give me a sec.
Oh.
Perspective Z
Cool.
is after Lit to the Party.
Cool. So we did them.
Okay, then Curly
Okay,
Critics.
cool. That has been another episode of Bacon and Eggs, the podcast that we're all doing right now. It's been a great time chatting about this wonderful Disney Channel original movie that people have been asking us to cover since we started the thing. And we said we would
I'd
never
say
do.
it's the most requested film we've ever
Yes, absolutely. We will be coming back next week with the sequel, and the week after that with the threequel. I have no idea when these episodes are coming out, so whatever.
Thursdays.
Every Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts, and now on Spotify. Bacon and Eggs is a production of the WB&E Podcast Network. If you want more podcasts like this one, or if you want more podcasts pretty much like this one, but better in every way, you should go check out Curly Critics. It's one of our newest shows to the network, and they do what we do, where they review things, but they actually review things. They stay on topic.
Kind of like we did this week, but they do it every week.
So if you want, and they don't just review movies. Tyler said they reviewed like Kanye West outfits one time, which was weird, but I don't think they do that. They mostly stick to pop culture, like movies and TV shows and books and Broadway theater and all that stuff.
Speaking of books, this episode is also brought to you, probably not brought to you, but
It brought to you by a strong word.
Beth has a new book. The Kissing Booth 3 is available for pre-order now, the novelization of the Netflix film, correct?
Yes. Thank you, Tyler.
Yes, and it is not out just yet, but it's available for pre-order. And if you order it using promo code BACON, it costs the exact same amount, and it will not provide a discount. It'll probably have an error at checkout.
It absolutely will not.
But you get to know that, your heart went into your pre-order. And you really should pre-order. You should buy all of Beth's books. What is your website?
This is a good question. I need to double check the link to make sure I say it right.
There will be a link to Beth's link tree.
www.authorBethReekles.com, or if you head to bit.ly/Reekles, then you can find links to all of my books on the book depository. And I have another new book called Lockdown on London Lane, 3 Guesses What Inspired a Book About Lockdown, which is being published next year, but there's like a first draft of it all on Wattpad to read for free.
Neat.
That is so cool.
If I might make a recommendation, if you're looking for some Christmas cheer here in the month of March, I recommend reading It Won't Be Christmas Without You, which is one of the 41 books I've read this year, and actually was one of the most delightful experiences I've had all year. Aww. And really got me through a horrible time in my life. I'm definitely an Eloise, because Christmas is the best. But
see, a lot of my family thought that I was much more Eloise, but I felt I was more Cara. So it's an interesting one, because I think everyone sees a bit of themselves in one or the other.
For reference, my girlfriend and I took our Christmas tree down yesterday.
Nice. I approve.
It is March 14th.
Yesterday. It's actually still sitting in the box because I haven't brought it out to the car yet. So
Sometimes
pick up all
of
Beth's books. Say that again?
I said sometimes you just gotta keep your Christmas decorations up.
Oh yeah, it's been a first quarter here in 2021 for the old Ethan clan. So pick up all of Beth's books. They're really great. They are a lot of fun. And if you buy them from Book Depository, they'll A, send you a bookmark, and B, never stop emailing you ever. They
Lucky you. You've got a new friend via email.
You've got a new friend, and they will shill all of Beth's books for you, as well as all of the books you could ever want. And they will not realize that you do not live in the United Kingdom.
I am sorry in advance
No, they're delightfully
after the fact in that case, but I know they do free shipping worldwide, so I always have to use that link, because otherwise I get inundated with messages like, but what about in my country? And I'm like, I don't know where you are. I can't help.
Well, the Czech Republic.
They got that book to me extremely fast for coming from a different country. And also it's great because instead, if you live in America, you hear words like your package has been shipped. And then Book Depository is like, oh, your book's been dispatched, eh? And it's a delightful little taste of somebody else's culture that doesn't come from Amazon. Beth, any last thoughts? Anything you want to add?
Also, listen to this preview for Curly Critics.
I was put it in already.
Okay.
I guess the only thing that I have left to say is, what team?
Wildcats.
Get your head in the game.
So when you tweeted that earlier, I immediately went to Remember the Titans, and I was like, I was supposed to leave myself out for the team.
What team? No.
See, I asked it on Instagram as well, and I got a couple of people who said Team Noah, and I was like, I appreciate you, but that wasn't the question. And I got several hundred responses that were just like, Wildcats.
You Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Team Edward.
Team Peter,
I
Team
think I'll do
Dale.
a rewatch of all the Twilight films soon.
I was going to say, you consider yourselves a fan fiction artist. Isn't that your whole job, is to constantly be revisiting the Twilight series for inspiration?
It probably should be, but it's usually Game of Thrones instead.
You could write a best-selling fan fiction series that you make entirely about sex, about Twilight. That hasn't been done before.
It hasn't. One of the... speaking of like Twilight fanfic that gets published, one of the first articles about me when I got published, there was one that called me the Dickens of the iPad generation, which I thought was really cool and flattering.
What a
and there was
title.
one that said, I know. And then there was one that said 50 Shades of Youth. And I was like,
Gross.
okay.
Gross.
Beth, I know you write a lot of fan fiction. You can tell me, is a lot of it smut?
It's a lot of slow burn enemies to lovers.
Okay.
The Dickens of the iPad generation.
Versus 50 Shades of Youth when I was 17.
You need to write an autobiography called that.
I know. So this has been Bacon and Eggs. Our music is by Andrew Scott Bell. You can listen to his music at andrewscottbellmusic.com. All of our graphics and artwork is by Vaishon Brandon. You can find him at graphite.vmb on Instagram. And if you like the show and want more like it, then go to wbne.org. There's a whole bunch of shows. I recently did a lot of updates to the website, so maybe it looks nice. Yeah, and you can judge my terrible web design. That's all I've got.
Me too.
Me 3.
Anyway, this has been Bacon and Eggs. I've been Ethan Edgell. He's been Tyler Carlin, and she, across the pond, has been Beth Reekles. Until next time, arrivederci.
Ashley Tisdale.
This has been a WBNE production. For more great shows, visit WBNE.org.